Hello, we're back on the clock. This is Pastor Randy, your end time pastor for your end time generation. Now, Black History Month is February here in the United States, for those of you who might be watching somewhere else. But a lot of black theology, black ideology is so deceptive. We've been talking about deceptions in the end times. The disciples asked Jesus at the Olivet Discourse whether or not he could tell them the sign of his coming, the sign of the end of the age. And the first thing Jesus answered to them, the first thing he said, was found in Matthew 24:4. And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. He said, the end times will be marked by great deception, right? And our other scripture for this segment, Isaiah 5:20, woe unto them, curse unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light, light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, sweet for bitter. So one of the things in my culture, and I'm talking about it because I'm black, as you can tell, I'm a black man. You're not asking anybody, what does he mix with? Is he mixed with something else? No, I'm black. I'm as black as you probably come in this country, right? So I'm a Black African American. I'm an African American, right? But a lot of our theology is so jaded, is so messed up, because we've been deceived by one particular political party. Wonder which one that is. Is that Republican or Democrat? I don't know. You figure it out, right? And they tricked us into calling what's good evil and what's evil good. So let's take one topic: mass incarceration. How many times you heard that black people are, mass incarcerated, overly convicted of crimes, blah, 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 getting more terms, harsher terms than the crime done by the other race, same thing, whatever. Y'all, let's talk about mass incarceration. I'm black. I'm as black as you come. I am over 50 years old. They never picked me up and just threw me in prison. Never. Not saying that some innocent people haven't been in prison or people haven't been in prison for things that they didn't do. Most of those guys are not innocent. They had a rap sheet. That's why they was in the lineup. But anyway.
Mass incarceration means that we've got a very high rate of incarceration historically, comparatively. And the other thing is the rate of incarceration is so high, so socially concentrated, that we're no longer incarcerating the individual, but we're incarcerating whole social groups. The rate of incarceration now is about 5 times higher than it was historically. Historically it was 100 per 100,000. Now it's about 500 per 100,000. If we look at prison, if we add jail to that, it's about 700 per 100,000. Nowhere in the world incarcerates as much as we do. We've seen extremely high rates of exposure to the criminal justice system for African American men with very low levels of schooling. So if we think about black men who were born in the late 1970s and who are growing up through the American prison boom of the 1980s and the 1990s, the chances that they're going to serve time in state or federal prison if they dropped out of high school is about 70%. So going to prison for that group of black men with very low levels of schooling, that's become a normal life event. And that's really only happened in the last 10 years. We're at this point now where there's about 1.2 million African American children with a parent who's incarcerated. That's about 1 in 9. The research shows the kids who experience parental incarceration have diminished school achievement, they have behavioural problems, depressive symptoms, acting out. And there's also evidence that these kinds of negative effects associated with parental incarceration are concentrated more among boys than among girls. And there's a very real risk here that incarceration becomes an inherited trait. The underlying issue is we've chosen prison as a way to respond to that problem of crime. And there are a whole variety of ways that we could have chosen to respond to that problem of crime. We've chosen the response of the deprivation of liberty. And we've chosen the response of the deprivation of liberty for a historically aggrieved group whose liberty in the United States was never firmly established to begin with.
Calling evil good, good evil, evil good, whatever. Mass incarceration. Do you know why there's mass incarceration? Because there's a mass number of black people, especially men, that are doing crimes. This is why. You know, generally speaking, you don't do crime, you're not going to end up in prison. Huh? But they've gotten us rooting for, let's, take a lighter on different crimes and let people out. People are coming out. The black guy in Charlotte, North Carolina on the train that stabbed the white woman, he had been let out several times because some black person said, mass incarceration ain't right. So now we got these liberal district attorneys, many of them black, that are letting criminals, hardened criminals out on the street. That man killed that white lady on the video. You can see it. So, y'all, one of the signs of the end times is deception. African American. Have we been deceived? Listen to what this man, and I don't endorse him. I mean, he got some fun looking hair to me. I don't know what he's doing. I'm not condemning him either way, but what he said was interesting. And he used to be with Black Lives Matter and converted to nah, this wasn't right. And now he's with Prager U. Check out what he says about mass incarceration.
You wouldn't be worried about mass incarceration if you weren't a criminal, goofy. Now walk with me. If you don't want your community to be disproportionately thrown in jail, then stop committing a disproportionate amount of crime. I mean it with my whole chest when I say that I am so pro-mass incarceration of anybody who chooses hood rattery as a lifestyle. Want to know how I've been black for 27 years and never went to prison? Because I get up and I go to work instead of robbing somebody's bald-headed auntie's house or selling crack rocks and ketamine to Doja Cat fans. But what about over-policing? They're only over there because y'all need to be chaperoned in your own hood.